Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Coffee Microcaps Morning Meeting. My name is Mark Tobin. For anybody who is joining us for the first time, and for all our regular attendees, you're welcome back. I'm going to quickly run through these intro slides, and then we're going to jump straight into this morning's presentation. I'd first like to thank RAS, Research as a Service, our sponsors here for all our online events at Coffee Microcaps. If you're looking for some research on small and microcap companies, please jump onto their website. You'll find coverage of companies there that aren't really covered by the brokers anywhere else. Quick compliance and disclaimer side, and welcome to anybody from ASIC who's joining us this morning. For anybody who is new with us here this morning, the companies we generally have presenting on here, generally every second week, capped under 300 million in revenue, approaching cash flow break even, or indeed already profitable. We generally don't have companies from the resources and biotech sectors, what I like to call industrial microcaps, which covers everything from retail, tech, hardcore industrial businesses, and everything in between. Structure this morning's webinar. We normally have two, but we've only got one company presenting this morning, but we're going to stick to this basic structure. It's a 20-minute preso and 10 minutes of Q&A. If you do have any questions for our presenter, please type them in the Q&A box in the bottom nav bar, and I will moderate them at the end. Please note the webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the Coffee Microcaps YouTube channel tomorrow morning. And indeed, you can find well over 100 of these sessions on there now, and in excess of 200 companies. You can follow us Twitter, YouTube, as I said, for this recording, and all the previous ones, LinkedIn, and I write a free monthly newsletter that will be coming out next Monday on the Substack platform. That's enough from me. I'm going to hand you over to Sean Halpin, CEO of Scidev, who will be taking us through his presentation. Sean, I am going to stop sharing my screen now, and if you want to start sharing yours, I'll let you know when I can see it up on my side. Yeah, it's coming through now. And yeah, just getting to full screen. Yeah, that looks perfect, Sean. You can take it away.
Thank you very much, Mark, and thanks to everyone for taking the time to join us today and hear a little bit about Scidev Limited and what we are doing at the moment. So just to go over, I suppose, Scidev and our purpose. At Scidev, we're all about delivering science-led, innovative solutions, solving industry's most complex problems. Our solutions and our portfolio of technology promote the efficient use of water within heavy industry. We minimize the amount of fresh water that's consumed by these industries, reducing the amount of contaminated water that's produced, and we also remove harmful contaminants from legacy contamination on properties, removing harmful contamination such as PFAS and forever chemicals from groundwater, surface water, and liquid waste. Our solutions allow our clients to recycle and reuse water. We improve their operational efficiencies, and overall we reduce their environmental footprints. We operate through two individual business segments. Our chemical services division, where we provide our proprietary products into primarily the mining, construction, and oil and gas industries, and also our water technologies division, which is more about the hardware. It's about designing, building, operating, and maintaining water treatment plants that remove those contaminants. Each of which underpinned by our core technologies and intellectual property. Speaking of which, as I mentioned before, Scidev are very much a technology business. We've got quite a diverse and deep portfolio of technology and products that we offer to our clients. Some of the cornerstone products are listed here. We have our MaxiFlux and OptiFlux products that we provide into the mining industry. MaxiFlux being our leading solid liquid separation chemistry, which we'll talk about a little bit further. OptiFlux is our dosage control, which helps our clients to more efficiently manage the dosing of these chemicals, reducing their operational costs and providing uplifts to their productivity. Then within the oil field, we have our X-Slick suspensions, which allow our clients to use recycled water from the production cycle in wells during the completion phase, and our groundbreaking CatCheck technology, which is a shale stabilizer. It inhibits pyrite oxidation, manages fine migration, and essentially prolongs the production of oil and gas from wells. It slows down decline curves and essentially allows for more more oil and gas, more resources to be produced from each well, essentially minimizing the amount of environmental disturbance and environmental damage per barrel of oil produced. On the water technologies side, our two core technologies at the moment are PFAS related, one being our Fluorofix, which is our PFAS removal technology, and then Regenex, which is a bolt-on technology to Fluorofix, extending the life of that technology, minimizing the waste that's produced, and in some cases reducing operational costs of this PFAS treatment by up to 75%. So before we move on and jump a little bit deeper into each of those operational segments and the technologies and some case studies, I think it's certainly worthwhile going through some of the Q3 financial highlights. Scidev, very much a growth company. You can see the revenue trend here. We've had steady growth in terms of revenue over the last period. But if we extend it back even further, in FY 2018, the company delivered just over $2 million in revenue. If we annualize out our Q3 results, we will close this year well north of $100 million. So very much a rapid growth trajectory and growth journey that we've been on. When we look to the quarter, record revenue at 29.1 mil is a really pleasing result. But the real story of this quarter and the real story of the last year has been in improved profitability. Gross margins have been steadily improving and are now sitting at that 30% mark, which again, something that we're really happy with. The EBITDA result, very strong for the quarter. Again, record EBITDA of 3.6 mil. But for me, the real call out this quarter is our year-to-date EBITDA result of 6.8 million, which when compared to the FY 23 full year EBITDA result, we're already in excess of 140% of that result. So I think the story of Q3 and the year to date has not only been about increasing revenue, you know, it's been a marginal increase in revenue and revenue growth throughout the period, but we're showing that we can increase top line revenue, but also generate more profit from that as well. So jumping into chemical services and just learning a little bit more about what we do here. As I mentioned before, it's about the development and application and supply of our proprietary products into those heavy industries, mining, oil and gas, and the construction industries. So what do these projects actually do? Well, what do these products actually do? In the oil and gas industries, they're used on the completion circuit. What they do is they make the completion process much more efficient. It allows for a lot less water there's a lot less water required through that process. That minimizes the amount of pumps, the size of the pumps, and the power that's required and the diesel that's consumed through that completion process. But importantly, it reduces the amount of fresh water that's consumed and minimizes the amount of contaminated water that's produced. We spoke about CatCheck and its ability to reduce the decline curves and increase the amount of oil that's produced. But all in all, we are increasing the efficiency of that completion stage. We're making our clients better at what they do, and we're also improving their environmental and wastewater footprints as we do it. In the mining industry, very similar. MaxiFlux technology, solid liquid separation, is used both on the resource recovery cycles, but also on the tailing circuits. Again, improving operational efficiencies and maximizing the amount of the commodity that's generated from these ore bodies, sending less out onto the tailing circuit and minimizing the amount of water that's produced or consumed and the amount of contaminated water that's produced there. Within the construction industry, our products, our Maxi-Dry product is used for tunneling slurries, again, managing that liquid waste stream. How do we do it? Well, it's all we operate in industries where chemical supply has been increasingly commoditized over the last number of years. As a result, product quality has dropped. What we are providing is high quality, highly efficient products into that space. Each of our products, be it within our MaxiFlux or our CatCheck or our XLIC product line, they're tailored. So we have micro innovation and micro adjustment to each one of our products so that they're specific for each application. That's what allows maximum efficiency, both in the performance of the chemicals, but also the amount of chemical that's consumed. So for our clients, they get a better outcome, but they also reduce their operational spend. And in some of these areas, in some of these industries, chemical cost is a huge driver and one of the main operational costs of these processes. Growth opportunities for us across the board. Our markets are growing, and the need for our technology are growing with increasing regulation. So in the oil field, as we see more stringent controls on produced water, on the management of contaminated water and reducing that freshwater consumption, this is expanding the markets that we operate and creating much more demand. Similarly, in mining and construction, legislation on tailings management and tailings dams, and in the construction industry, just general regulation on the discharge of contaminated water as well are opening up these markets for us. We've got a number of blue chip clients from First Quantum, Aluka to Devon and BPX in the oil field. And when we think about the commercial model within our chemical services business, we charge per unit of chemical provided. So that could be per ton or per liter, depending on the industry. Contract durations differ by industry. In the mining industry, they're typically 1 to 3 year fixed term contracts. Similarly, in the construction industry, generally that 1 to 3 years in line with the actual program of works that need to be delivered. Within the oil and gas industry, it's much more short term. It's more relationship based, and it's more about operating under MSAs for our clients, and then working with them and going with them from operation to operation, typically under 3 to 6 month purchase orders. Gross margins within the chemical services, again, varies based on the complexity and of the technology that we're providing. But typically we can see anywhere from 20 to 40%. And we've seen that price mix steadily improve over the last number of years as we've transitioned our clients away from more commodity style chemistry over to our proprietary products. So looking at the last quarter, and if we compare Q3 to the quarter before, steady revenue from 23.1, actually flatline revenue there. But what we have seen is an increase in gross margins, and that's what I spoke about. There's two levers there that have driven that. What I spoke about before in improved price mix as we continue that transition for our clients away from commodity products to our proprietary products, but also we've been really effective in managing the cost of our raws, of our toll manufacturing costs as well, and have been able to reduce our cost position. Some of the key highlights: we operated in 6 oil and gas basins, supporting an average of 11 completion fleets throughout the period. We received first purchase orders from our MaxiFlux chemistry from our local distributors in the coal industry in Queensland. We're also awarded a chemical supply for dosing equipment to support coal operations in the Hunter Valley, showing that we're not only providing the chemistries to these markets, but also the dosing equipment and our OptiFlux dosing control as well. And one of the big headlines from the quarter was the establishment of our joint venture with Noir Chemicals. They are manufacturing partner, and the joint venture has been established in Singapore. This is something that's been in the pipeline since about 2019. COVID impacted the progression of the joint venture, but the purpose of this joint venture is to allow us to take on the international mining market and going after the large more commodity style contracts with no balance sheet exposure. Take a quick case study looking at our MaxiFlux chemistry within mineral sands project. The problem was flocculant usage and overall treatment costs were the second largest on-site consumable spend. Huge spend and a huge driver of the OPEX costs on these operations. The challenge, the technical challenge, was the process water quality at very high TDS levels or salinity levels, which was adversely impacting the dissolution properties of the polymer and inhibiting its effect. And we also had variations in feed, which were which the incumbent chemistry was struggling with. So the solution was we developed a variation of our MaxiFlux chemistry, 550R. It was designed to operate in these highly saline environments, and we tweaked it and the molecular weight so that it was specific to this application, and this offered a more stable solution for the client. We also took a more holistic approach to the problem, and we worked with them on a defined dilution program, making sure that we targeted optimum feed solids in the feed well. As a result, we were able to maximize the effectiveness and efficiency of the interaction of our chemistry and reduce the overall chemical consumption costs on that project by 50%. The outcome for our client, 30% reduction in overall flocculant dosage, greatly decreasing their operating costs, and the tech developments that streamlined their system and delivered efficiencies at each of the process stage. And we also increased the water return. We provided improved water quality in that return water and improved their processing time as well. So moving on to our water technologies business, a very different business where we specialize in the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of water treatment plants. They're pinned by our core technologies that remove harmful contaminants from groundwater, surface water, and liquid waste. We have a large focus on emerging contaminants and complex contamination issues. The primary issue that we are tackling at the moment is the global PFAS issue, very topical piece at the moment. And, PFAS contamination on a global scale is getting an awful lot of news time. And you see it in a lot of headlines at the moment. We think about our PFAS technology. We have our Fluorofix, which is the actual removal stage. This is a market-leading, world-leading PFAS removal technology that has been developed here in Australia, has been tried and tested since 2016, is now fully commercialized, and in a rapidly growing market, both domestically and internationally. We are incredibly well positioned to be able to take on that opportunity. We operate under two commercial models within our water technologies business, one being build, own, operate, where we maintain ownership of the equipment. We mobilize to site to rectify, remediate a short-term issue or a remediation problem. We will process the water and return it to the environment most of the time, and then demobilize from site. Where a more long-term solution is required, generally exceeding over 36 months up to 20 years, we will provide the commercial model that's generally adopted is traditional design and construct, where we'll go through full concept design, detailed design. We'll build a plant, we'll potentially train our clients, and then we will hand over the keys. We typically will bolt on an operation and maintenance period alongside that, so that we can provide the performance guarantees our clients need to know that their contamination issues are being appropriately dealt with. Our clients, typically blue chip, everything from Acciona in the construction space, Alcoa in mining, Cleanaway in waste management, and we also have a number of government clients. And part of our water technology technology strategy is using our established PFAS treatment technology and taking that into international markets, primarily being the European market and North America, both of which we are 9 months underway, and are seeing a lot of inbound inquiries and some real early success in the business development piece. And yeah, some real solid opportunities being generated there. So again, a growth story within our water technologies vertical, rapid growth, 5 consecutive periods of revenue growth. And this quarter we saw improved profitability driven by an improved price mix between that design and construct work and that build on operate. It's important to note that a build on operate margins typically higher, anywhere from 30 to 50%, but can go anywhere up to 90%. Dependent on the complexity of the issue, the competing solutions available in the market. Where it's highly contaminated PFAS liquid waste, we can set the price in the industry at times and command much higher margins. Some of the wins throughout the quarter, we achieved full-scale treatment of one of the previous delayed FluorFix projects for clean away waste management in Queensland. We began the construction of a PFAS water treatment plant for a blue chip mining client in Western Australia. Outside of the PFAS and the water treatment space, we also received a PO for the supply and ongoing maintenance of 30 water quality monitoring stations for use across multiple mines in Western Australia, showing that we can take the technology that we use within these water treatment plants and actually sell them as an adjacent business line to our existing clients. Post-quarter, we executed a contract with Ventia for the supply of our FluorFix within a build-on-operate water treatment plant to remediate a PFAS-contaminated site in Victoria. This is another project that we have been that we've executed with Ventia. They've been a great collaborative partner with us in the remediation space for a number of years now. Within the Victorian market, we delivered a remediation project a number of years ago, tackling a PFAS highly contaminated PFAS source zone or PFAS hotspot. We're now looking at surrounding properties adjacent to that source contamination issue and remediating contaminated surface water for them. We also, in the international markets in North America, we submitted multiple proposals under the US Department of Defense's ESTCP program for our Regenex regenerable PFAS treatment technology, which we'll talk a little bit about going forward. So spoke earlier about this PFAS opportunity, and I think it's important to underline the true scale of this issue. We have over 600 identified sites contaminated with PFAS within Australia, and that is just that have been identified having contaminated ground, surface water or soil, PFAS contaminated ground, surface water or soil. This isn't including the landfills and other industrial areas that are likely or have been proven to have PFAS contamination within their leachate and groundwater as well. The full extent of the issue is certainly unknown at the moment. When we look to the international market, and we can look to these maps where we see the PFAS issues or areas highlighted, it is very much an international issue. It is very much a global issue, and it's an issue that's not going away for us. We continue to introduce PFAS into the environment today, and we've seen some bans on PFAS containing products being I suppose swept through the Western world, but we continue to introduce this contaminant into the environment. Currently, we're looking at around about a $250 billion addressable market globally, a very, very big number, and that's in terms of the remediation of the issue. For those who are asking what PFAS is, I should probably take a step back and say they're a family of man-made compounds that have been used in a wide range of consumer and industrial products since the 1940s and 50s. They're extremely useful and have been used in the likes of non-stick frying pans and stain and water resistant coatings, and the most prolific use has been within aqueous film forming foams or firefighting foams, and that's I suppose the avenue that has seen the most direct introduction into the environment, but widespread use, and that is half the problem. They bioaccumulate. They have a carbon fluorine bond that is very, very, very difficult to break down. They do not break down within nature. They don't break down within our bodies, and they bioaccumulate. So as we're exposed to even low-level contamination over time, PFAS builds up in our body, and there is a wide range of negative health effects linked to that, including infertility, a wide range of cancers and thyroid issues, among others. We're seeing regulation increasing worldwide. One of the most notable pieces is the drinking water legislation and the final ruling on drinking water legislation that was landed by the US EPA a number of weeks ago. And now the 66,000 drinking water treatment systems within the US have got a 5-year compliance period to get their treatment infrastructure up and monitoring regimes up to speed to be able to deal with this PFAS. As at the moment, we have approximately 100 million Americans that are exposed to PFAS contaminated drinking water. Again, really highlighting the scale of the issue for us. Scidev's technology, what is it and what does it do? Our FluoroFix, again, industry leading technology, can take very robust ion exchange process that can take the most contaminated material that we're exposed to and treat down to the lowest possible limits of reporting. It tackles both the short and long chain PFAS, which is something that we don't see with other competing technologies. And it's best in class for waste generation, and waste being the biggest driver of cost from these PFAS treatment projects. Essentially, it gives us the ability to provide a lower cost, more cost-effective and commercially viable option to our clients. And with limited funding available worldwide, we can remediate more water and remediate more sites for the same dollar value. Our target sectors that we're going after in these international markets: Department of Defense is a huge landowner with legacy PFAS contamination issues. The drinking water market, as we spoke about, which being driven by the US, which we should see adopted internationally over the coming years. But also we have PFAS issues within the construction infrastructure industry, mining, government sites, aviation, and general industrial sites as well. If we look at our PFAS technology in numbers, the real take-home piece is this isn't an emerging technology. This is something that's been commercialized, that's been in operation and tried and tested since 2016. Over the last 3 years, we've generated over $25 million in revenue from our FluoroFix tech. Over 30 sites, PFAS contaminated sites, have been remediated using FluoroFix. And we currently have 7 operational sites. And we've treated over 7 billion liters of water. There are very, very few competing technologies in that market that have such positive runs on the board, and even fewer that are capable of achieving the PFAS limit of reporting of 0.00023 micrograms per liter in the treated water. So we'll do a quick comparison of Scidev's technology. We've got a wide range of traditional water treatment technologies that are being applied to solve this, and some developing. When we compare FluoroFix with traditional tech such as reverse osmosis and granule activated carbon, the big drivers here, as I spoke about, are waste generation. With RO, you have a high volume of reject, brine reject that needs to be dealt with and disposed of offsite. With granule activated carbon, it will remove PFAS, but loads up very, very quickly, and again needs to be disposed of in high volumes, both of which driving that cost. One of the other pieces that we need to consider is which technologies remove both long and short chain PFAS. Within the current Australian regulation, we are held to SUMA PFAS, which is a suite of 30 plus PFAS molecules, both long and short chain. And so to facilitate discharge into the environment, we need to remove both, and that limits the amount of these technologies that can be applied. We have foam fractionation here, which within its own right can be a very useful tool, but currently we are not seeing short chain removal from the foam fractionation offerings in the market, and as a result, its use for contaminated site remediation is extremely limited. And when you compare the Fluorofix and technology coupled with Regenex, which is a regeneration technology, which further reduces the amount of waste that's produced. Essentially, it strips PFAS from the Fluorofix media and condenses it down into a much smaller volume. When we compare that with traditional non-regenerable ion exchange resin, again, the waste is a big driver, and also its ability to meet that non-detect level is severely limited as well. So very quick overview of a case study here. We were approached by a blue chip mining client in Western Australia that had surface water contaminated with PFAS due to legacy AFFF or aqueous film forming foam contamination. They needed a rapid mobilization under a build own operate model, and they also needed us to treat to the lowest possible limits of reporting, that 0.00023 micrograms per liter. We mobilized the site, or we mobilized the equipment to site quite rapidly. To date, we've treated over 1 billion liters successfully, and no exceedances in the discharge criteria. And byproduct waste generated, as I mentioned, the biggest driver of cost in PFAS treatment, currently sits at 0.018%, all of which has been able to be disposed of to general landfill. So looking forward, general priorities. Obviously, we have an ongoing focus on the health and safety of all our employees, but from a strategic perspective, we are looking within chemical services to broaden our market share. In oil and gas, that means operating on additional basins and providing our chemistry to more clients. In mining, that's growing a domestic footprint here in Australia, but also accessing the international mining market, and also developing our construction pipeline as well across both verticals. Within water technologies, again, we have Avenue driven by our PFAS treatment technology, our market-leading technology, to expand our domestic market. But we're also looking to capitalize on these growing markets within Europe and North America going forward. We have boots on the ground now in these regions for the last 9 months. Our plan is to prove the concept, secure initial pilots and initial beachhead projects, and then from that point on there, scale rapidly as these markets develop over the next number of years. And Mark, that's all from me in terms of the presentation. And if anyone has any questions, I'd love to hear them. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, we've gone slightly over time here, but a very interesting presentation. And given it's your first time presenting to the Coffee Microcaps audience, I think it was good to get like a solid overview of the business. So I'm going to take 2 quick questions, and then I'll let you go because I know you told me you've got another engagement. But I'm going to take the second question first, if that makes sense, because it's related to PFAS, which we just finished off on the second half of your preso. Question is, what is happening with New South Wales PFAS remediation and or New South Wales defence sites? I know you mentioned the recent contract in Victoria in your presentation, so maybe let's talk about what's happening in New South Wales.
Overall, throughout Australia, Australia's been ahead of the curve globally in terms of the regulation and the remediation of PFAS contaminated sites. We're operated on 7 PFAS remediation projects at the moment, the vast majority within New South Wales at the moment. Scidev currently hold 2 mobile waste processing license for PFAS with New South Wales EPA. So it's quite a mature market, and we're servicing both long-term remediation projects and small reactive emergency treatment works, especially given the volume of rain recently, that surface water runoff and collection that is contaminated with PFAS will need to be treated as a result. So quite a mature market, and one that we're actively involved in.
Yeah, and actually leads into the second question perfectly when you talk about the amount of rain we've had, well, up and down the whole East Coast. EBITDA in the last quarter, and they say now very broadly How much of that attributable to like emergency work arising from flood events in New South Wales, and maybe I don't know if you engaged in stuff in Queensland as well?
Okay, I mean, there's certainly a positive impact there, just driven by volume of the volume of contaminated water that's being treated. But the big driver for EBITDA has been over the last quarter has been in the chemical services side, and primarily within the oil field, which accounts for about 65% of total revenue. So we look at the revenue split between chemical services and water technologies. Although we have seen improved performance in water tech, it's certainly not been the main driver of the improved EBITDA result.
And then I'm going to squeeze in one personal question for myself, just on if we stick with the water business, international expansion, is that going to be led through an agent distribution model, an export model from Australia, or do you plan on, financing on your own balance sheet, with, offices, staff, everything, boots on the ground in Europe, the US? Maybe just talk about that.
So we've got two different strategies depending on the region. A North American strategy, we have an operational footprint, and many of the skill sets that we have within our oil field team are complementary. And so we operate from a design and engineering perspective on a hub and spoke model, where our engineering team within Australia will design these plants, we'll have them manufactured and fabricated locally, and then we have the ability to deliver them locally as well, given our current resource base. We're looking to secure beachhead projects, and then from that point we have additional avenues to be able to scale off of that. Also, the two commercial models that we have in water technologies allow us to take less capital intense approach to it, by delivering design and construct projects in advance, which allows us to get paid on a milestone basis and can typically be run cash flow neutral. When we look at the European market, again, that hub and spoke model is still applicable, but we're also looking to partner with water treatment providers in some of the EU member states that have taken a more active approach to PFAS remediation. This allows us to just provide the PFAS treatment technology and not the up and downstream processes associated with the rest of the water treatment plant, allowing us to get rapid access into these markets. So again, it will be secured beachhead projects through these partnership agreements, and other industrial wastewater treatment projects, as the overall legislation is a little bit less mature and is currently developing. Once that's secured, then we have additional avenues to scale and accelerate growth.
Okay. Sean, we'll leave it there because I don't want you to be late for your next engagement. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'll wish everybody a good rest of their Thursday. Thank you.